but New York is a hub for creativity, and Singapore, we're trying to be a more creative place. So maybe you could share with us how Singapore could be a creative place like New York City. Thank you very much.
Somebody a lot smarter than me probably wrote a number of times, we always think that we are doing, we have an expression in America, I guess, the grass is always greener in the other fellow's yard. Singapore is one of the great cities of the world, and it has been for the 25 years I've been coming here. My company has a big office here. It is a role model for one of the ways you can approach the problems of a diversified population, of a competitive world, Singapore is a country without lots of natural resources, and yet it thrives. I think the things that big cities that are successful have in common are a lot greater than those things that differentiate us. We may each have different geographies. For example, in New York City, one of the great things that New York City has going for it is the rivers which forced us to grow vertically and have a density that creates an excitement. If you look at other cities, they grow out and they never achieve that, and they just keep getting further and further apart. New York City is a city that lives as a mixture, not as a mosaic. Many big cities have different ethnic neighborhoods. In New York City, you can go down a street in Queens and in one block see signs in Arabic and Korean and Spanish and Russian and English. It's just, New Yorkers, the way I phrase it, what's different about New York than I think other cities is we go down the steps to the subway next to people that look different, dress different, sound different, act differently, have different interests. We stand in the same lines for a taxi cab or a cup of coffee or a newspaper. And so people who are different become common. They don't become frightening. When they're not frightening, then all of a sudden you're more open to dealing with them. The other thing that's different about New York City, and it was interesting, a woman asked a question before about philanthropy here. The infrastructure, the social structure of New York City, not infrastructure, social structure, is built around business and philanthropy, not about lineage. So in New York, nobody asks where you came from, what school you went to. They all want to know, what are you doing now? And you see that in a restaurant, the diversity of the people in a restaurant. You see that at a golf course, the diversity of people who are members of a golf club. No other city do I know of where you would have that, except, in all fairness, Singapore. Singapore, I've always thought, I'll never forget the first time I was here, I was standing on a busy street corner, just looking at the people going by, and there was just no question, this was a group of people that had come from all over the world. You could hear it in the languages, you could look at it in the dress, you could look at, what people look like. That's what Singapore and New York have more in common. We don't have the same climate, but there are times I wish we did, times I wish we didn't. But they're both diversified cities where people are proud to be there. And I've always thought, if you look at Singaporeans, they've always been proud of their government. They're proud of success. Singaporeans, and I think New Yorkers as well, don't begrudge other people their success. They want the success for themselves as well.
Gentleman over here, then the lady, and then the ladies behind. Okay, so just